AlphaTauri stand-in Liam Lawson says he can't settle for anything other than a full-time seat on the grid next year, following 3 races with Red Bull's sister team in place of the injured Daniel Ricciardo. Lawson was promoted to race driver at the Dutch Grand Prix after Ricciardo broke a metacarpal in opening practice and has brought the car home in all 3 races, with his best 2 points for 9th in Singapore. And while the New Zealander will likely continue to race in Japan before Ricciardo returns in Qatar, he's after that full-time seat in 2024. I'd say now that I've had a taste, it's definitely something I've fallen in love with, and I don't think I can settle for anything less, he said. Lawson expects to complete his Super Formula campaign in Japan with 2 rounds remaining while F1 is in Mexico. The 21-year-old is just 8 points behind standings leader Ritomo Miyata. Alfa Romeo Sauber hit the headlines in Singapore, with the Hinwil squad announcing it will retain Zhou Guanyu for an unchanged driver lineup in 2024, enabling him to compete at his home race in Shanghai. Guanyu has turned up the heat in his 2nd season of F1 and kept his teammate Valtteri Bottas honest, with the Finn endorsing his progress at the squad exclusively to the inside line.
He made big steps from last year. Really good progress in terms of pure speed, but also the technical knowledge, and still our teamwork has remained the same. So I think he's been probably, for me, the biggest guy improving.
Zhou, who was China's first F1 racer, said he was very excited to line up in Shanghai next year for the first Chinese Grand Prix since 2019. Zhou's confirmation means that there are now just 3 seats left on the 2024 grid, with 1 at Williams alongside Alex Albon, and both at the yet-to-be-rebranded AlphaTauri. Haas is set for a concept change from next month's United States Grand Prix in Austin, with the American team the last to switch to the downwash solution employed by Red Bull. The Ferrari customer kept on with the works team's initial concept despite Maranello switching from Spain. But Haas was forced to make a decision after it maxed out performance ahead of the summer break. With the squad's concept change in Austin part of a major upgrade to the VF23, one that will see the grid converge on design. We developed the whole year and there was nothing there. At some stage, you need to do something different, and we could not keep on banging our heads against the wall trying, while the other ones kept on finding gains, said team boss Gunther Steiner. Red Bull didn't clean up in Marina Bay, but it did at Zhulchengi Airport, where its drivers Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez faced off in identical motorized cleaning carts ahead of the race. The pair raced along a makeshift course next to the famous Rain Vortex, the world's tallest indoor waterfall. Verstappen won after Checo made a bad start, while yet another trophy was destroyed. Staying with Sergio Perez, who says that he wasn't offended by comments from Red Bull's Dr. Helmut Marko on Service TV earlier this month, despite the FIA issuing the Austrian with a written warning. Marko got into hot water after he said Perez's fluctuating form was due to him being a South American, despite Mexico being in North America, and added that Checo was just not as completely focused in his head as Red Bull's F1 world champions Max Verstappen or Sebastian Vettel. But while the sport took a dim view, with Mercedes' Sir Lewis Hamilton describing the comments as unacceptable, Perez remained unfazed. He gave me a personal apology, so it's like everything. When you have a personal relationship, it's a lot more important, the personal feeling, than the public feeling, Checo said. Williams boss James Vowles says Logan Sargeant must close the gap to teammate Alex Albon, though it's understood the American will keep his seat for 2024. Sargeant is the only driver to have competed in all 15 races this year and failed to score a point, but it's his performance relative to Albon the team want him to work on. Across the first 15 races, Albon has owned Sargeant 15-0 in qualifying, 11-0 in races that they both finished, and 21-0 on points, which are not confidence-inspiring stats for the American. Vowles, though, has been direct in what's expected. The comments I've given him is this: it's a meritocracy. You're not here just because we want you to be here. You have to earn your place. This is the pinnacle of motorsport, he said. '16 F1 World Champion Nico Rosberg has taken aim at Aston Martin's Lance Stroll, who he says must up his game or step aside. The Canuck miraculously came back to start the season in Bahrain just 12 days after he broke both wrists and big toe in a cycling crash. But he's been nowhere near his two-time F1 World Champion teammate Fernando Alonso, who has 123 more points than Stroll, with the Canadian not racing in Singapore after a big crash in qualifying. And Rosberg says it's untenable, with Alonso needing to be pushed. Either Lance gets back to where he can be and where he should be, or they're going to have to start thinking about changing things around there with the second driver, he said. Four-time F1 World Champion Sebastian Vettel has refused to rule out a comeback to the pinnacle of motorsport, but says it will depend on when. Vettel retired from the sport following 299 starts across 16 years spent in the paddock, with his 4 titles earned at Red Bull before disappointing stints at Ferrari and Aston Martin. But while the German champion has been enjoying his retirement, with more family time, Sail GP, and F1 runs using sustainable fuel, he's not quite ready to say no to a comeback. I can't say no, because that you don't know, he said. One option for Vettel could be a return to Sauber turned Audi, with the German manufacturer making its debut in 2026. Austrian F1 icon Gerhard Berger says that Max Verstappen's astonishing performance this year reminds him of his friend, the late great 3-time world champion Ayrton Senna. The Dutchman has been head and shoulders above the rest, including his teammate Sergio Perez. And Berger, speaking with the sport's official podcast F1 Nation, says the parallels are clear.
The performance of Ayrton was just unbelievable. You know, it was wet on ball, it was dry on ball, it was a street circuit on ball, it was in a quick circuit on ball. Win the races, didn't make mistakes, read the races better than anyone else, was quicker coming into the pit, quicker going out, whatever. And Max is doing exactly the same.
Berger also suggested Verstappen's passion for gaming and simulators may have played a part in him unlocking extra performance.
We are living now in a time where simulators working very well too. And I think Max Verstappen sitting every day in the kart and being at the same time a big fan of simulator and playing all day long these games give him a knowledge what I think it's another level.
Former F1 Supremo Bernie Eccleston says Felipe Massa's crusade to overturn the 2008 World Drivers' Championship result 15 years after the fact is all about money. Massa began legal action against F1 and the FIA last month, in which he claims that a recent interview with Eccleston proves individuals at both institutions were aware of the Crashgate saga in 2008, not 2009, when results could have been overturned.
15 years after, we hear the interview of Bernie Ecclestone saying that they knew in 2008, him, Max Mosley, Charlie Whiting, and they didn't want to do anything not to destroy the name of Formula One for that very big situation that happens. So, and then for me, this is unacceptable.
Mercedes says it's watching on with interest given 2021, but Eccleston has since retracted his comments with a scathing remark for the once magnanimous Massa. It's all about money for the Massa clan, but the chances of that are zero, he said. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.